match of the 2023 Grand Final. So Western United, can they dish out some ice-cold revenge, almost 2 years in the making, and all but end the Sky Blues' hopes of a back-to-back championship defence? Diakis. And now Ma. So that really stung, and while it has almost been 2 years since that defeat, this would be quite significant for Western, because there is a lot at stake for Sydney FC. Every match, the pressure becomes more and more intense on the back-to-back defending champions. That defeat to Adelaide last week, where they came back from 2-0 down to lock it up at 2 apiece, only to lose the match in stoppage time after Millie Farrow's equaliser. DeSantos in a foot race, unable to win the ball in that battle with Grove. Western United, though, winning out, and Holman comfortably to a beanie. Hawkesby tried to stab it in behind. So this is this little shoulder-to-shoulder battle between the 17-year-old DeSantos and 20-year-old Sasha Grove. First season for her, Grove at Western United. Traded the green for the green and black after spending the previous seasons with Canberra United after debuting back in 2021. Tori Tumeth has found Hawkesby in an offside position. And it's just those kind of 1%ers that have frustrated Sydney FC this season. Wouldn't they love to have someone like Carly Johnson playing up front for them this year, leading goal scorer in the competition. Sydney Junior coming up through Coleroy and Manly United. She's up top here with Chloe Lagazo, another former Sydney FC player. Carlingford Junior. Diakis has moved into midfield for this one. And that's to fill the boots of Taranto. That's a very important win and shows a good turn of speed as well. And Carly Johnson very nearly fashioned an opportunity for Western United. They may yet get another chance here, the green and black. Hawkesby putting some serious pressure on. Well, that is beautifully done by Miocic. And Matt Tobin earning a free kick against the sideline. And Diakis, really good turn of speed, getting around the outside, finding the ball, the Colombian youth international. Also spent some time on the books of Portland Thorns in the NWSL, but didn't play. I just saw Rachel Mitchinson giving a little talking to Carly Johnson, who wasn't best pleased with the conversation from the referee. Grove, nice turn away from DeSantos. And Ma. free kick going the way of Western United. Taken by Miocic, who's playing just her 6th match of the season. 3rd start for the former Perth Glory player. Now here's Lagazzo going down inside the box. There was a stifled appeal from the Western bench. Now it's Johnson. Lagazzo, good angle, squeezes it through Mason Jones. Chloe Lagazzo with her 7th of the season. And just as she did against Melbourne City midweek, she scores again here against Sydney FC on Sunday. And Western United into an early 1-0 lead. And for Sydney FC, a change of goalkeeper. But it's the same result. They have conceded early once again and find themselves behind. So Chloe Lagazzo has scored now in 3 consecutive matches. Scored in the 4-1 win over Western Sydney from the penalty spot. Then an absolute rip-roaring strike against Melbourne City midweek. And now has scored again against her old side. 7 now for the season. And I can tell you, she has scored in 3 straight matches now. For the 2nd time in her career. The 2 previous occasions with Sydney. I should say the 2 previous occasions. One was with Sydney in 2018. The other with Western United in 2024. And that was a 4-match streak. So she has a chance to equal that in Western United's next match, which is against Brisbane Roar next Sunday. Here goes Vic. Andy Lemon profiting here with possession for Sydney. Grove leaving it here for Mark, so the 2 former Canberra teammates linking up. De Santos. So the big question for Sydney already, almost 9 minutes into this game, is where is the equaliser going to come from? They've got Mackenzie Hawkesby playing up top. We know, of course, that's not her natural position. They've got Millie Farrow on the bench, who's coming back from a hamstring injury. She scored against Adelaide last week. Just wonder if they remain behind throughout this first half and into the second, how soon Ante Juric does push the button to bring on Farrow. Did well last season at Perth Glory, scoring 7 times. Caspers playing the 1-2 with Hawkesby, but just doesn't have the speed to beat Grove to the ball. Tobin. Abini. Just opened up a little for Johnson. That is good foraging by Princess Abini, but couldn't squeeze the pass through. Miocic. Whiteside, you can see there, assistant coach Ante Juric. Standing on the edge of his technical area. Sydney going to earn themselves a free kick thanks to the work of Lucy Johnson. So Tuma up the line. Caspers and DeSantos. Eggersvik. Really good strength to beat a couple. And Lagazzo just didn't have a teammate alongside. She was hoping there was someone pushing up through midfield. And this is probably a stat for Andy Howe to delve into, but we've got two Tasmanians on the pitch here. Lucy Johnson for Sydney. Amy Medwin for Western United. Medwin playing her junior football in Hobart. I should say Taruna, and same for Lucy Johnson. So it's not often you have a couple of Tasmanian products on the pitch. Pretty special day for the Apple Isle. Tuma with the cutout, but unable to earn back possession for Sydney FC. Sato was trying to feed in Medwin there. So it's going to be an intriguing battle, that one. Medwin and Johnson both coming through together at Taruna. Strong work by Johnson. Ball spills here, and Sydney FC have the equaliser. And it is Mackenzie Hawkesby who has grabbed her second of the season, the makeshift striker. And it is a moment that Chloe Lincoln would rather forget. But it's an equaliser for Sydney, which they crave, and they get a bit of fortune, which they need this season when you're struggling in front of goal. So her first since November, 21st in the competition for the two-time A-League Women's Champion with Sydney FC. Gee, this is some kind of a message. Have a look at this. Tom Whiteside giving some instruction. So to Ante Juric now. So they've obviously spotted something, and at the same time, it's almost a double whammy here. Chloe Lagazzo is being helped from the turf. She's going to have to go off because the trainer's come out, the physio, I should say, to give some treatment. So you just wonder what that is going to do for Mackenzie Hawkesby's confidence, because We touched on it. She's playing up top. Not an out-and-out striker. She's playing there because Ante Juric needs someone in that position. And she has got a decent goal-scoring record for a midfielder. 21 in 90 appearances. But it just hasn't been her season from a goal-scoring perspective, just 2. But you wonder whether she can get on a roll here. This is the incident. Well, this is it. Johnson, it's just a 50-50. And Lagazzo's come in, maybe just got a little knock to the ankle. And that strong challenge with Johnson. And you've got to credit Lucy Johnson. Her strength in that 50-50 challenge allowed for the opportunity to present for Hawkesby. So goals are plenty inside the opening 15 minutes at Leichhardt Oval. Lagazzo in the 6th, Hawkesby in the 14th. Well, that's strong from Abini. She's come through. And she has clattered Miocic. So Chloe Lagazzo back on the field after that injury scare. Looking to find Medwin. Taking on Lemon. And Carly Johnson coming up against her old team. That was strong work initially, and then again she's going after Nat Tobin here, who decides the best course of action is to take safety in the sideline. Johnson was asking for the free kick. Diakis. Medwin, decent delivery. Taranto getting up. All dealt with by Sydney initially. And Lagazzo just too much as she looked to link with Taranto. February 10, 2019, the last time Beth Mason-Jones played in the A-League Women's. Almost 6 years on, she's back in goal after impressing with Essendon Royals in the NPL Victoria. What a proud moment for her, 27-year-old. Last in the A-League Women's in a squad with Canberra United in 21-22. Slipped away from the slipping Hawkesby. Diakis. And now Sardo uses Miocic. Abini, early delivery, searching for DeSantos, but it was just overhit. And Sasha Grove able to speed onto it. Oh, Chloe Lincoln, she'll want to put that moment out of her mind. That strike from Hawkesby just bursting through the gloves. She'll be heading over to the She Believes Cup in a week or so's time with the Matildas. Joining Arnold and Micah as the 3 goalkeepers for Australia. Made a debut back in December. It's got so much potential, and no doubt she'll learn plenty from that moment just minutes ago. Abini couldn't squeeze that through. Miocic with an important win back for Western United, but they've gifted it here to Sydney FC. Thompson. Caspers. And they're coming back for the free kick here, Rachel Mitchinson. I was just checking if an advantage could accrue for Sydney FC. It was just that little clip from Miocic on Maddie Caspers. So the American Thompson stands over it. She's got DeSantos, you can see wide right, who is free. So it's Hawkesby who's taken over the free kick duty. Just trying to get the wind direction. And dinks it perfectly to the back post, and that was much more assured from Chloe Lincoln, who came through, had to plough through a field of bodies there. Carly Johnson looking to speed her way down the right flank. Well snuffed out though. Johnson hooking it back towards the middle. And Hawkesby is offside. To be a well-placed delivery. So Jordan Thompson, Nat Tobin up there as well. And it was Lincoln who was out to make the grab. So just past the midway point of this first half. Good response from the champions after going down after 6 minutes. Legazo scoring in the 6th. Hawkesby responding in the 14th. Tumeth. Johnson. And that should be a yellow card. There is not much more of a cynical foul than that in the game. Lucy Johnson, the first player booked. Her 2nd of the season. Just having a look at players in danger of a suspension. Tori Tumeth, the only player today. She picks up a 5th yellow card. Will miss a match. Grace Marr doesn't mind a shot from that kind of distance, but decides to find Medwin. Johnson leaves it for Medwin. Flashes it past the outside of the goal. She has been in goal-scoring form for Western this season. Scored in November against Wellington and then again in January against Perth. It was a tidy strike. Just couldn't arrow it into the bottom left corner from her perspective. DeSantos. It was a calm touch, but again, Sydney couldn't make it work down the right. Just one win in 11 for Sydney FC. And that was a match where they didn't actually get to the finish line. It was a match where they led 2-0. And eventually the result awarded to them after play was abandoned due to the weather. So they will just be desperate to get that winning feeling at the end of 90 minutes. Sasha Grove, great endeavour from her down the left. So too from Tobin. And the deflection favours Medwin here. Looking for the cross. Closed down by Thompson. Has to be careful. Johnson's strike was blocked away. Eggersvik. It just didn't drop enough for the Philippines international. Johnson coming inside. Carly Johnson couldn't find the target. Did look dangerous for a moment, but Beth Mason-Jones was not too worried. It was always curling away from that near post. I'm feeling for your Western United fans this afternoon. You've got your A-League men's side in action against MacArthur at the same time as the A-League women, so I'm assuming you've got the split screen going. Both sides playing in Sydney. MacArthur at home to Western in the A-League men's. Sydney and Western United here, and also in the A-League women's this afternoon, Western Sydney and Brisbane Roar. So 3 matches to keep track of. Hopefully you've got enough screens to keep an eye on all of them. Hopefully we can get through without any thunderstorms rolling through. There's always the risk of that this time of the year. Princess Sabini. Just going down a little softly, according to Rachel Mitchinson. Holman hooked it up to Hawkesby. Miocic to the sideline for Western. I mentioned Sydney FC. That one win in 11. Western coming in here, just 1 loss in 5, but it was a hefty one at the hands of Melbourne City and Holly McNamara, really. McNamara scoring a quick-fire hat-trick in the first 38 minutes on Wednesday. They really couldn't claw their way back in the second half. As much as Chloe Lagazzo tried to haul them back in to the clash with some spectacular strikes. It's been that kind of season for Western. Just a little bit inconsistent, but you could say the same for most sides in the Ninja A-League outside of Melbourne City. So Miocic just taking the time to do up both the shoelaces. There's Hawkesby for the 3rd time here. You can see her frustration. Grove. Miocic trying to measure it over the top, looking for the forward run of Diakis. Taranto. And that is nice work from Matty Caspers. It will be a corner though for Western United. That's not a bad result for Western, especially when you've got someone of the ability of Taranto from the set piece. From this side, you've got Grace Maher from the other. It's a dangerous combination. You can see that wind just blowing across maybe towards goal. This will help this on the in-swing. Diakis going up. Sydney FC only away as far as Maher. And then Lucy Johnson back into the mixer. And Nat Tobin, that time getting it comfortably clear. Sardo tracks it down for Western. Sardo's delivery did look dangerous. Nat Tobin had to cut it out because it looked to be making a beeline for Chloe Lagazzo, who was just craning the neck and getting it ready for what could have been an opportunity to score her second of the match and fourth in 3 matches. So this time it's Maher, and you can see again, wind favouring this, curling it in. Taranto getting up. Diakis drops it out to Grove, but Hawkesby, excellent pressure from Mackenzie Hawkesby. Good shape on this delivery from Maher. There's a nutmeg from Grove on Caspers, but didn't have the end result for Western. Sydney FC, after a period of just soaking up some pressure, and themselves a couple of throws. Grove getting up above Johnson. And Sardo trying to redirect the header in front of Medwin, but Abini put on the afterburners to get back. And sure, Sydney FC with a chance here to push forward. Eggersvik on it for Western. Miocic and Sardo. And the whistle going the Sky Blues' way. So it's a match which, since Hawkesby's equaliser in the 14th minute, has very much become an arm wrestle. Who can take the ascendancy? Maybe before halftime. There's some space in front of Grove, fed by Johnson. But it was just the dribble and a heavy touch, which resulted in the chance evaporating. Bit of space to work with now for Sydney. Hawkesby and Caspers just didn't have the speed or strength to go shoulder to shoulder with Eggersvik, who probably had a bit more time than she thought. She's played it out for a corner. She probably had a whole lot more time. Maybe a bit of miscommunication as well with Chloe Lincoln, who could have come out to claim the Western goalkeeper. And now it's a needless corner. Could it come to something here for Sydney? The delivery is a good one, and it should have been 2-1. What a chance for the centre-back Thompson. Scored a couple of times last year from that kind of situation for Sydney. And it has grazed the crossbar and over. A corner which never should have gone to Sydney FC from a Western perspective. And they very nearly punished the green and black. Lucy Johnson turning. Hawkesby's onside. She has Caspers in the middle. It's behind Caspers. The touch was decent. It's another corner for Sydney. They have got some ascendancy, the Sky Blues now. They are just feeling some momentum. And while Caspers didn't quite have the speed to go with Mijicic, the cutback favoured her. Almost turned it into a goal-scoring opportunity. DeSantos' delivery into a good area. Again, there was just no Sky Blue player attacking it. Toomuth finding Tobin. Now Johnson. And Chloe Lincoln claims it. It was travelling from Lucy Johnson. There was a moment where you wondered it was going to burst through the fingers. But the Western goalkeeper held firm there. So just the 3 shots on target. That just the second for Sydney after the equaliser for Hawkesby, and Western's only strike on goal was that of Hawkesby's. I should say was that of Legazzo's. Hawkesby was really pressing up there. Sydney are just sensing a moment here. Mason Jones's clearance, though, only as far as Carly Johnson. Taranto measures the strike. Taranto off the crossbar. Johnson following in, and it was Tobin who cut off the opportunity. Well, Taranto just saw Mason Jones creeping up off her line and very nearly put Western in front. Chances coming thick and fast in this one. Hawkesby now for Sydney. Hawkesby goes herself. She had DeSantos in the middle. Caspers as well making a late run. You just cannot take your eyes off this match before half-time. Grove into the players on the ground. So this is Taranto's chance. And I think Mason Jones has just got a fingertip there to push it onto the underside of the bar. And then Hawkesby decided against squaring to DeSantos. And the save from Lincoln almost into the path of the striker who was coming through the middle. Indiana DeSantos, the Shark Player of the Month for January. Couple of goals. One in December against Newcastle in that crazy match. The Jets ended up winning, and then one last week against Adelaide. So you could probably say, based on the chances, scoreline's a fair reflection of this one with 5 to go in regulation time in this first half. Both sides could have had a 2-1 lead. Holman just played Plays it straight back to the Arcus, who return the favour. Both just wanted to give a present to each other in that moment. Weston with a bit of field position here to try and apply some pressure on the Sydney goal. Melbourne was stepping up and now is out of position, so can Weston exploit that? Carly Johnson. And it was never looking likely there from Carly Johnson. Plenty of power in that right boot. Just wanted a teammate to go with her. Vic linking with Medwin, one-on-one here with Abby Lemon. Nice pass from Vic. Lagazo looking to turn. Johnson! Carly Johnson once again this season against her former employers. She has driven a dagger into Sydney FC. What a campaign she is having. That is 8 for the season. Her high water mark in the Ninja A-League. It just keeps getting better and better for the Collaroy Chroma Strikers Junior. And Western United, for the second time in this first half, lead the match. And Sydney FC have to come from behind again. Last week against Adelaide, they had to come from 2-0 down. They'd already come back from a goal down, now from 2-1 down, and Carly Johnson has designs on a second. Scored in this clash back in December against Sydney FC. Has got 2 doubles. One in December against the Mariners, the other in January against the Jets. Could she snag a 3rd brace of the season? She'll certainly have a sight set on it. Hawkesby, crucial intervention. And that was expertly done by Miocic, because she had to make up for her initial mistake. Really good strength there, diving in, just fell awkwardly. It will be a corner for Sydney, but it's going to come after the physio comes out for Miocic now. Just flagging what could potentially be a problem here for Western, because the physio's coming out. No yellow card, so the centre back is going to have to leave the field. So Western are going to have 10 players to defend this corner. It's just the head slash neck, it looks, for Claudia Miocic. Just her 3rd start of the season. 6th appearance of the campaign, so could force a little reshuffle for Kat Smith.
The 4th official has indicated a minimum of 3 minutes additional time.
3 minutes of additional time, so Miocic going off, clutching ahead. Alana Cern the likely replacement if she was unable to continue, but she looks all right at the moment. Western, though, have to defend this corner with 10 and without their centre back. It's a huge loss when you're defending a set piece. Can Sydney make it count? The delivery is tight on the near post. Grove got it away only as far as Thompson. It took a deflection. Was it a handball? That's the question from Sydney. They're inquiring with the referee. We'll have a look here on the replay. It was Grove there covering the near post, got the header up and away. Garzo's hands were around. I'll tell you what, looked to be maybe a hand sticking out there from Medwin, but it won't matter now. There's another corner on the way, and it's a rather disappointing one from a Sydney perspective. Well, that would be very, very intriguing to see where Medwin's arm was. When you're having a season like Sydney FC, you don't expect those kind of calls to go your way. When you're sitting up towards the top of the table, it generally tends to go your way, or at least it seems that way, because you're playing so well. But it's just a Sydney FC season that's lacking some traction. Captain Matt Tobin is doing her best to try and haul them out of this predicament. Defending hasn't been a massive problem for them, but they have leaked goals in recent weeks now. Johnson, so dynamic. Free kick though given away. Final seconds of this first half. So coming into this game, 19 goals they'd conceded in 14 matches, Sydney. So that's not a massive issue, but when you look at the recent history, 3 last week against Adelaide and now 2 in the first half today against Western United. And it hasn't mattered whether they've had a change in goals either. So it's half-time at Leichhardt Oval, and it feels like it's the same kind of situation every week at the moment for Sydney. Their season, their back-to-back championship defence hangs in the balance here, because Western United have come out and they lead at halftime. Mackenzie Hawkesby got the Sky Blues back level after Chloe Lagazzo made it 1-0 after 6 minutes for Western, but Carly Johnson made it 2 ex-Sydney FC players to score for Western. And at halftime at Leichhardt Oval, it's the defending champions of the last 2 seasons trailing by 2 goals to 1. And let's reflect back now on the first half highlights. And it didn't take long for Western United and Chloe Lagazzo to open the scoring, beating Beth Mason-Jones at her near post. So a 3rd goal in as many matches for Chloe Lagazzo, 7 for the season, to make it 1-0. And then Sydney FC, it only took 8 minutes to hit back, and that's a moment that the Matilda's goalkeeper, Chloe Lincoln, will want to improve on before she heads over to the She Believes Cup. This was a massive moment. Thompson with the header over the crossbar. These are the chances that Sydney FC just have to take right before half-time. And Taranto, she hit the underside of the crossbar. This was a moment for Carly Johnson, shut down by Nat Tobin. There was a flurry of action in the 5 to 10 minutes before the interval. And then Chloe Lagazzo looking to turn. The ball spilled back for Carly Johnson, and that's an assured finish from a player who has now scored 8 times this season. Just improving every week on her career best season in the A-League Women's. So there are the stats. Western with more shots and, more importantly, more goals in this one. Pretty even everywhere else you look. Half time at Leichhardt Oval. Sydney FC 1, Western United 2. It's half time here at Leichhardt Oval. Sydney FC with some work to do if they want to salvage their season. They are behind 2-1 against Western United. Now, last night in the A-League Women's, the Newcastle Jets were trying to cause an upset at McDonald Jones Stadium when they hosted the league leaders Melbourne City. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Blind pass around the corner. Stott trying to return it with interest. Stott rattles the crossbar. Rebecca Stott so close to her first goal since December of 2023. And now swings it over to India Breyer. Breyer on the right foot. And even though it's a shot on target, Milena Mires calmly makes the save. Building up speed, Briley Henry. Squeezing it through for Speckmeyer. And a good save by Krasaniak. Might be a moot point due to the offside flag, but neither goalkeeper or striker were to know. Rostbacken, Speckmeyer brings the ball under control. Still Speckmeyer, and parried to safety. Krasaniak saves and Wilson clears. And now Josie Allen is set loose down the right side. Allen looking for Gallagher in the middle. Stott one-on-one defending the follow-up. Copus Brown high and wide. End-to-end stuff, but not with the control that Newcastle needed. Clearance only as far as Wilson. Wilson bursts away from Henry. Hangs up across. Hoban! Cleared off the line. Absolutely vital from Rebecca Stott. And Sophie Hoban so close to putting Newcastle into the lead. Still Apostolakis has got Speckmeyer at the back post. And Speckmeyer lunged at the ball. And Wilson clears it away in desperation. Well, you could see that unfolding. You could see Speckmeyer lurking. Well, a deflected clearance. They're not out of danger. Here's Hughes. And it's in. Brilliant goal. Laura Hughes from distance puts Melbourne City in front. And Newcastle will not get their first ever clean sheet against Melbourne City, because Laura Hughes' 4th goal of the season makes it Melbourne City 1, Newcastle Jets 0. Adams nicks the ball on. Claire Adams, great save. Mires stood up and batted it away. Adams went for power. And the Spanish goalkeeper, Milena Mires, with a big stop to preserve the lead. Cross back and clears it away. Holly McNamara can go to work. She's got half the pitch to sprint here. Pryor's chasing. Holly McNamara bearing down on goal. And the outcome was inevitable. Holly McNamara makes it 2. Newcastle put all their chips on the table, and Holly McNamara took them away. Melbourne City 2, Newcastle Jets 0.
It was obvious that they kind of took their chances, and we had a few good ones, but unfortunately didn't get to put it in the back of the net. But I think as a team, you know, obviously Melbourne City is pretty strong, and I'm pretty proud of the Jets girls for, you know, 2-0 sucks, but you know, it could have been worse. But
stylistically, you pressed them, you really raised a challenge. There were so many shots, so many chances. Does it leave you feeling good about how the team is progressing in spite of the win, draw, loss tally over the course of the season?
yeah, definitely. I mean, it would have been nice to play this kind of style, or at least the style that we played today, earlier on in the season. But, you know, we've got Wanderers next week, so hopefully we can take the good parts of this game into that game.
It must be frustrating. You come back, Sheridan comes back, but then Chico's suspended, Gooch is out injured. You've got long-term injuries. Just how destabilising is it having players come and go every week of the season?
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I guess that's football, and you can only, I guess, play the cards that you're dealt with. Yeah, hopefully we've got a few players coming back next week, but yeah, it's annoying, but it is what it is.
Laura, congratulations on another win. It's now 16 in a row unbeaten in the league, 19 unbeaten overall. Have you forgotten what it feels like to lose a game?
Yeah, I actually haven't thought about it too much. I think we've just been taking every game as it comes. And yeah, it's built up to 16 games, and hopefully we can keep it going.
It was fascinating to see only one change to the starting 11 coming off a midweek game. Is it a situation where the squad feels fresh? Is it a situation where Michael backs everyone to come off a midweek game without needing to rotate?
Yeah, I think we've got probably the best medical staff that keep us fit and fresh, and we're looked after really well. So I think, you know, that's why we've been able to back up games after a couple days. So, yeah, but we've got really good squad depth, so anyone that comes in does really well for us.
You've got the goal-scoring touch. That's 4 for the season. You only had 2 prior to the start, or 3 prior to the start of the season. So what's changed? Is it your role? Is it the teammates? Is it just a mentality thing? What is being done differently by you?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think I'm just getting in better positions. I'm probably getting a bit more higher up the pitch with how we're playing. So, yeah, I think I put it down to I'm just getting in better positions, and also just backing myself.
Welcome back to Leichhardt Oval. 45 minutes for Sydney FC to try and save their season. And while, yes, there's still a mathematical possibility of making finals, even with a defeat today, the doors are closing. The path is narrowing even further for the Sky Blues. Now, as we foreshadowed in that first half, the Farrow button has been pushed by Ante Juric, so he's got an out-and-out attacking proposition up top now. Lucy Johnson, the player, withdrawn. So that means Mackenzie Hawkesby will drop into her usual, more favoured midfield role. Farrow will play up top, and we're underway in the second half. Can Sydney FC find something in this second half to keep their season alive? So after this, there's 8 matches remaining. 8 times 3 points maximum of each game means that if they lose here, they can get to 34 points in this season of the A-League Women. So I don't want to be relying on winning every match, because the cutoff last year, I can tell you, for the top 6 was 33 points. That was 22 matches, though. This season will be 23. So you probably expect the cutoff maybe to be a little bit higher. Maybe 34, 35. I should say maybe potentially could be a little bit higher. Could be similar as well. So let's say 34 points. Well, that means if Sydney lose here, they would have to win every game based on last year's number. So that's why winning this one just gives them a little bit more breathing space. Hawkesby to Santos. And Farrow played in on goal, but just a little too heavy as Lincoln was able to come out and claim. But keep an eye on Millie Farrow. 7 goals last season for Perth Glory. She's won trophies in Europe. Won the Women's Championship with Leicester back in the 2020-2021 season. She's played in the WSL with Chelsea, Bristol, Reading. Also was with Crystal Palace and Leicester City in the Championship, and North Carolina Courage in the 2023 NWSL season. Not much opportunity, though, there before coming to Perth last season. Hamstring injury has really hindered her this year, so currently just her 7th appearance. Lemon. Farrow. To Santos. And Tumeth. Can they find that final pass? No, they can't. Closed off by Sasha Grove. This is a little bit awkward, though, for Grace Maher. Such as her technical abilities, she was able to find a way to wriggle free of the pressure of Hawkesby. Sydney, though, still with the throw. And it's Farrow. Thompson. Delivery comfortable, it looked, for Lincoln. Little fumble, though, under the pressure of Caspers. Farrow with the pressure here on Miocic. Scored the equaliser in stoppage time last week against Adelaide to make it 2-2, only for Chelsea Dorber to make it 3-2. The crowd rises here for Caspers. Abini sending Sato one way and then the other. And then has she run out of room? No, she hasn't. Gets the cross in. Has to turn around. That was well done by Abini. Now Lemon. Too much on it. So this was tight. Hard to say. Well, it looked out from that perspective, but it's always hard from camera angles, and it's very hard for the assistant referee, who's over on that far side, to look across and see if the ball's out when you've got to look past both goalposts as well. Nice chest from Farrow onto a Beanie, who looks to hang it up towards the middle. Smart driving it down the left. But Sydney have had a good little spell here of pressure. They had it in the latter stages of the first half as well, but they couldn't make it count. Carly Johnson looking to turn provider after scoring the go-ahead goal. Back for Caspers. Good run this from Farrow. And Lincoln came out and just did enough to put off the English striker. But this is a warning sign for Western United, because Millie Farrow is looking extremely dangerous. And that combination with Caspers could bear some fruit in this second half. Western, you feel, need at least 3. 2 goals will not be enough for them. You sense Sydney have got at least 1 more in them. The inclusion of Farrow in this second half looks to be a great decision. That pass is left short on Mason Jones. First A-League women's appearance in 6 years. Here's a little bit of extra pressure for you. You don't need that. Tobin's header falls for Lagazzo. Takes on Lemon, dinks it up and over the top, drives the cross in, almost an own goal. Mason Jones probably had it covered, but it was off Tobin. Just a really awkward bouncing delivery from Lagazzo, and Tobin didn't know too much about it. This will be a testing moment for Sydney now. The corner on its way. Over the head of Diakis. And Taranto tried to knock it back into the 6-yard box. Blocked off, and it will be a corner for Western United. These kind of moments where they can put the match potentially out of reach for Sydney FC. Taranto's delivery, Lagazzo making a nuisance of herself at the near post. Hooked back in, and Mason Jones off the crossbar from Eggersvik. And then Ma couldn't link with a teammate. So they built all that pressure to start the second half, Sydney, and very nearly could have been behind 3-1. Ma looks up, angles the pass out to Taranto. Now Lagazzo. Back towards Taranto, but Hawkesby doing the clean-up work through midfield. Western, though, having their own good spell. Medwin's delivery. It wasn't convincing from Thompson, but Tobin did the rest for Sydney. Who was this header from Eggersvik? Just in that awkward drop zone. On the underside of the crossbar, and fortunately for Sydney, it didn't fall to a Western United player, and it was Nat Tobin who was there. Nat Tobin, once again, there's a problem here. There's a problem for Legazzo. Saw Farrow on the deck as well. Now that is not what Sydney want to see. Because she's just come back from a hamstring problem. Is it a contact injury or is it a potential calf problem? Legazzo down again. I wonder if she copped something in the face. Yep, a knee. It's a knee in the face here for Chloe Legazzo. So she should be okay, provided it wasn't too severe. She'll be getting the concussion test. So she'll have to come from the field for a moment. But the big concern for Sydney is Millie Farrow, who has looked dynamic and dangerous since coming on at half-time. And now she's getting that knee, it looks, tested out. So there's Legazzo just falling into the knee. And Farrow is limping towards the sideline. Oh no. She's absolutely heartbroken, and you can understand why. Returned from a hamstring injury last week against Adelaide, and she's gone down the tunnel, and it's all over after 11 minutes after coming off the bench. That is a huge blow for Sydney. So where does Ante Juric look now? Does he put Mackenzie Hawkesby back into the striking role, or does he look for an alternate option? He's got Luchtmeyer, who scored against Western United back in December, on the bench. So too Faye Bryson, defensive player, and Talon Henniker as well. And it looked as though it was Luchtmeyer who was getting herself ready. Hawkesby very nearly managed to weave her way into a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper. But your heart goes out to Millie Farrow. She just cannot take a trick this season. Tobin stretching the legs here. Nat Tobin all the way from the back. Caspers cut off by Diakis. Tobin may yet get an opportunity. Clearance only as far as a beanie, but it rolled up off the knee, and that allowed Medwin the opportunity to release Legazzo. Holman snuffing at any kind of problem initially. Toomuth had to be careful there. And then Thompson decided to take the safety first approach and just launch it. And it's a good launch, because Sydney now threw a beanie. And it just was too slow in that moment. And Western United easily able to handle that situation. Legazzo left it behind though, a beanie. Couldn't pick the pass between Western players. Grace Marr shutting down the lane there. So Western are going to make a change. Grace Marr is going to be withdrawn for Alana Cern and Amy Medwin to be replaced by Di Demizio. Di Demizio scoring against Sydney in December. Could you repeat the dose here? Grace Marr leaving the field. Not often you see that. Grace Maher leaving the field. It's the first time she has not played the full 90 minutes after starting since December 2022. So you just wonder whether it's a decision made defensively to hang on to a 2-1 lead, or whether there is something more sinister, or whether it's simply just squad management because they played on Wednesday. But yeah, the last time Grace Maher started a match and didn't play at the full 90 was for Canberra United against Perth Glory back in 2022. She came off in the 79th minute. Interesting. Final half an hour upon us at Leichhardt Oval. Taranto standing over the set piece. And cries from Western United. They thought that Alana Cern, who's literally just come out onto the park, was handled illegally here. Well, it doesn't even look like there was a Sydney player around her. So confirmation there, Grace Maher substituted. So Luchtmeyer, as we mentioned, onto the field. Scored for Sydney in this match against Western. The corresponding fixture back in December. This could be a promising moment for Sydney. Just couldn't angle the pass out to Abini though. Lemon. Good industry there. Abini. And the turn from DeSantos to Abini. Johnson wanting to find an option. No one that she felt was worthy of the pass, so she decides instead to move it backwards. So Farrow, who went down the tunnel, replaced by Luchtmeyer, the 17-year-old. Made her A-League Women's debut in November for Sydney FC, and then scored her first goal in December against Western United. Big moment for her in her 9th A-League Women's appearance, all off the bench. Abini, Luchtmeyer, and Lincoln came out to claim with the assistance of Alana Cern. There is the 17-year-old striker. Really big task for her. Well, when it's not going your way, even the throws are a frustration. Sydney FC fans couldn't quite believe it. Diakis. Luchtmeyer giving chase. Miocic. The pass picked off by Tumeth. There's space for Sydney to work in here. Caspers. And it was a tired-looking delivery, wasn't it, from Maddie Caspers. The moment was there for Sydney. just wonder what kind of impact that Millie Farrow injury would have had on the side, because they have just looked a little flat since she left the park. They came out all guns blazing in the second half. The Cove were loving what they were seeing, and then Farrow injured after just 11 minutes on the park. And you just wonder now, Sydney FC, can they find themselves a goal to get themselves back level with a young brigade up top? To Santos. Shifted it out to Toomuth. This will be a corner for Sydney. Well, this is as good a chance as any for them. From the set piece, they can get numbers into the box. Nat Tobin coming up. They'll have Jordan Thompson as well. You can see the pressure they're putting on Chloe Lincoln. So Tobin right in the middle of the 6-yard box. And Thompson making the run late, just couldn't connect with it, as Lincoln was able to push it away. The goalkeeper, yeah, just got the touch. Looked mine was making herself a real nuisance. Caspers tracks it down. Goal kick is the call. So the situation for the ladder at the moment, and you have to take into account the live score in that other game. Brisbane Roar up against Western Sydney. Western City leading that. Sienna Silvestre with the goal. So Western United currently on the live ladder, sitting in 4th place on 25 points. Can Sydney try and change that? Not with a strike like that, they won't. So it means after 16 matches, Western would sit 4 points behind Melbourne Victory, who still have a game in hand. So too Adelaide United. Mason Jones coming out of her area to ensure another chance wasn't going to eventuate into a goal-scoring opportunity for Western. Carly Johnson now into the box. Is this a penalty? Yes, it is. Rachel Mitchinson took a moment and points to the penalty spot. Carly Johnson caught in the box, and Western United have a chance now to make it 3-1. And just hope that Carly Johnson's okay here. And it was Jordan Thompson who just came through and clattered into Johnson. Thompson trying to explain herself to the referee, but you don't need too many looks at that to see that Thompson came through and cleaned up Carly Johnson. And she's going to get a yellow card as well. So who will it be here to take the penalty? Chloe Legazzo scored the one against Western Sydney last Friday night. But it looks as though it could be Taranto to take here. Adriana Taranto scored 5 goals last season, yet to score this year. Maybe not. Maybe she's just protecting the penalty spot. Yeah, that seems to be the case. So it will be Chloe Legazzo. Who's already scored in 3 consecutive matches. she going to make it 4 in her last 3? Or will Beth Mason-Jones, in her first A-League women's match in almost 6 years, make a penalty save to keep Sydney FC in the hunt? Mason-Jones in her first A-League women's match in 6 years. She saved the penalty from Lagazzo. What a return for Mason-Jones. Could that lift Sydney? Is that the tonic they needed to go on and fight back in this final 20 minutes? How good is that? That is a terrific save from Mason-Jones. And you can see why the Essendon Royals were so sad to lose her for the NPL this season. But they were also so proud. Helped them progress from the State League into the NPL over the last 3 seasons. And gets an opportunity with Sydney, and you can see why. Big penalty save against a Matilda in Chloe Lagazzo, who's scored 7 times this season. And Sydney FC at the other end. DeSantos. And the deflection just didn't favour Hawkesby. Toomuth left it behind, but it was DeSantos who ran onto it. Hawkesby, intelligent pass, delivery, good. Oh, it was almost a pinball machine in the box. And all's well, it ended for Western United. That could have been a disaster. So Maddie Caspers, who has looked a little leggy in the last few minutes, she's replaced by Faye Bryson, the English import who played with the Mariners last year, previously in the WSL with Everton, Bristol and Reading. Picked up a knock last week against Adelaide. Can she have an impact here? Tobin getting up. Thompson. She'll be one of the most relieved players on the ground, Jordan Thompson, after that penalty save. She's fed here by Tobin. The delivery took a deflection, but the clearance only as far as Holman, who tries to lump it back into the box. Lincoln was given a bit of a bump by Luchtmeyer, who's just said, hang on, I'm here, and I'm going to contest and put you under some pressure. And that's good intent from the 17-year-old. Does give away the free kick, but just makes Lincoln think twice in those kind of situations. Tobin pushing up into midfield here for the moment. Just seeing how this is going to shake out for Sydney. It looks as though Thompson and Toomuth are playing as the centre-backs. Lemon's still on the left, and Faye Bryson has come in at right back. So that means that Tobin has moved into midfield where Caspers was previously. So I mentioned previously, Sydney FC currently sitting on 10 points. Last season with 22 matches, the cutoff was 33 points to make the finals. This year there's one more match. They win all of their remaining matches from here, Sydney, including this one. They've got 9. They can move up to 37 points. They lose this, they can only get to 34. So that shows you the kind of urgency around this final 15 and a half minutes. It's season on the line stuff. It's championship defence on the line for Sydney FC in this final 15 minutes. Looked to be a little push there from Legazzo on Toomuth, but allowed to go. Legazzo looking to catch Mason Jones off a line. It was just screwing wide of goal. So the goalkeeper leaving the goal kick for Thompson, so you can understand why Thompson's just trying to leather this down the middle. Tobin. Dinking over the top, but too far for Hawkesby. Thumbs up. Doesn't mind that option. Shea Holman was rolling it into where Abini would have been, but she had been involved in the previous play down the left, so in the end it became an aimless pass. Sydney though with the throw. Now what's going on here? Eggersvik has come from the field. A little bit of confusion. Getting some treatment. So Western momentarily down to 10. So just 10 out there for Western with Eggersvik in the hands of the physio. Carly Johnson just held up the ball expertly there and just slowed down the play, but in the end Sydney able to get back on it. Cries for a free kick from the Sydney FC faithful. Toomuth. Flipping it up the line. And Tobin, she goes down. And she looks to be okay. Getting a hand up from Faye Bryson. Just falling. Oh, it's the head there. Yeah, you can see the whiplash. Missed that whole of last season. That ACL injury, so it's always a worry when you see her hit the deck. Look, Meyer getting up for the header, but never on target there. But she's really getting herself about, is Amber Luchtmeyer. Thompson, Lemon, and Abini. And the pressure just too much for Thompson to fight a teammate up the line. You just heard a member of the crowd, Carly Johnson hits the deck, ask where Shay Connors is. Well, not selected is the response from Sydney. And you can understand why that question's being asked, because they are lacking goals this season, but Shay Connors, she's played 12 times, no goals for her this season. Her last goal was in the grand final against Melbourne City, that 1-0 win. So not part of the matchday squad and no injuries for Shay Connors. Oh, maybe are coming together here. Mitchinson has turned her back on Luchtmeyer, who is furious with the decision, and it's a yellow card for Hawkesby for a bit of back chat. So it's all happening here. Hawkesby's had a few choice words to say to the referee after Luchtmeyer. Well, she looked to be felled there in the box. We are going to have a look at it. Is this a penalty for Sydney FC? Should have it been a penalty? Well, absolutely. There's no doubt Mijicic has got in an awkward tangle, and you can see by her reaction the fact that she stays down. Well, you decide for yourself at home, but that looks pretty clear-cut. And Western may well have gotten away with one there. Kaylee Talon-Henneke now into the game for Sydney. So Mijicic just tiring a little. And you can understand just her 6th appearance of the season, 3rd start, so not the full season under her belt of matches. And the fresh legs of Talon-Henneke to the byline. Grove has done well, considering she's up against a player who is fresh. Sasha Grove, that is brilliantly done. The cross now to Tobin, holds it up in the box. She's got it between her legs. Trying to wriggle it free, Tobin. Somehow she does so. Luchtmeyer throws herself around on the floor. Desperation here from Sydney FC. Trying to salvage a season in the final minutes here at Leichhardt Oval. Johnson, Lagazzo. Western just feel they get one more. They get one more and they can seal the 3 points. And they can bounce back from that 5-1 defeat midweek against Melbourne City. Johnson's strike, that has stung Hawkesby. Lemon trying to squeeze it up the line, but unable to keep it inside. Diakis. Sada. Diakis' ball. Finding Taranto. Good turn from Taranto. Grove was making a nice run down the left. Corner on the way here for Western. Carly Johnson with the pressure on Mason Jones. Couple of braces for her this season. Could she add a 3rd? Back in a home city to seal the points for Western. Delivery a good one. Flick on is excellent. Western somehow can't force it over the line. Taranto was wobbling around there. Alana Cern got herself up and about. Just the 1A League women's goal for her back in the finals last year against Newcastle. Now Lagazzo's been in the wars today. She goes down. Maybe a bit of gamesmanship as well here, knowing they're ahead and time is ticking away. Vastly experienced player. Just got the flick on. Didn't look like she had a problem initially, and then has just hit the floor. So she's going to have to go off for the moment, but that's taken a little bit of time out of the clock. such a heartbeat of this team. Chloe Lagazzo, what a player she is for the green and black. Absolutely run her heart out today. And you just wonder whether she will come back out onto the field, because she's going down getting some treatment from the physio. They've got Prakash and Hieda on the bench as the outfield options. Western United, so we'll see what Kat Smith decides to do. No doubt she will not want to take off her captain, but she may well be forced into it. Johnson's delivery, collected by Tumeth and Tobin. Well, you can hear the planes flying overhead here at Leichhardt Oval. The runway for Sydney FC to the finals is running out here if they cannot claim a win. We saw them produce the late show against Adelaide last week, only to then concede in stoppage time. So Lagazzo looks as though she is done for the afternoon. She's taken off the armband. And I believe it's going to be the experience of Kiwa Hieda, who will come on now. The Japanese import came over to Australia to play NPL with Calder and Preston Lions in her second season in the Ninja A-League. So the substitute is going to take place now. So Kiwa Hieda on for her 10th appearance of the season. The Cove trying, willing Sydney FC back into this match to find an equalizer. Taranto nudges it up the line, but Tumeth there for Sydney to link with Thompson. So Brisbane have found an equalizer in the other match. Zara Kruger. And that means that Western on the live ladder would drop back into 5th place with a win, not 4th, and that's because of goal difference. They're -4, Brisbane are +16. Still, they would move into the top 6, and that was the task ahead of them today. And they are heading towards back-to-back wins against Sydney FC for the first time in club history. But will Abby Lemon and Sydney have something to say about that? Not with a pass like that. Hieda, who's come on for Lagazzo. Critical intervention there. Hawkesby now has won a corner. Well earned by Hawkesby. Oh, and a few words as well. Have a look at that from Mackenzie Hawkesby. That was to Miocic, who's getting off the turf, who Sydney FC believe gave away a penalty. And Miocic was crying out to the referee saying, no, it's not a corner. And I think Hawkesby let her know. Hawkesby's corner, punched by Lincoln. Spills for Bryson. Can she get it back into the 6-yard box? She can, but Lincoln's height. It's a massive advantage. And down she goes to take a bit more time off the clock. Good delivery initially from Hawkesby. And then Bryson just too close to Lincoln. And Lincoln is going to stay down a little longer here. So out comes the physio, and obviously they know, goalkeepers, that they don't have to go off the field if they go down with an injury. So you can stay down and you can have the advantage of keeping the full complement of 11. So Rachel Mitchinson watches on here as Lincoln gets some treatment. Now, 7 minutes of additional time. You sense it's going to be even more than that, because we are into stoppage time and the football has not been kicked in anger. Well, there it is. It's a little bit of a nudge from Abini in the back of Lincoln. And she thinks, well, we're up 2-1. It's in stoppage time. Just 20 years of age. She's got all the match awareness smarts, Chloe Lincoln. Frustrating, though, for the Sydney FC fans. So, still, we're yet to get back underway since that stoppage. So, expect it to be 7 minutes of stoppage time from here. Hieda looks to be overhit, but it just holds up on the turf. Demizio, how about the footwork, and the delivery's a good one. But the header is across the face of goal from Taranto. Demizio, have a look at this footwork here on Lemon, the in and the away. And Taranto's header not on target. Throw for Sydney. Lemon to Tobin. The pressure was good from Hieda, has added some real starch here and energy in midfield, filling the big shoes of Chloe Lagazzo. That should be a free kick. No, it's not. Just going down a little too easily, according to Mitchinson. And now it's Carly Johnson striding out and deciding to shoot. Mason Jones is going to lift this one up the ground. It's coming back, though. And Abini's got to put in the long strides. So too Luchtmeier to put the pressure on Lincoln. Can Sydney fashion an opportunity? Just one. They are looking fatigued. They are looking a little out of ideas at the moment. Thompson through a couple of Western players. Abini keeps it in. Play on for Sydney. Now Luchtmeier, well blocked off. Abini drives it. Couldn't pick out the bottom corner. It was really well done. Never gave up on the ball there, Princess Abini. And it fashioned that opportunity, but Alana Cern got herself in the way. Well, Chloe Lincoln is probably very fortunate that she hasn't received a booking. Albania attempting the flick on. Negesvik, Hieda. Can they put this match beyond doubt, Western? Just closed off by 3 Sydney FC players. Really blocking up the midfield. Sydney wanting to go quickly. And we've just got some word through for the moment on Millie Farrow, her injury that she left the field with. We're hearing it could be a possible meniscus injury in the knee. So just came back from a hamstring issue. Potential meniscus injury for Millie Farrow. Just second match back from injury. Just awful to see her go down the tunnel so heartbroken. So Western United making the final change available here. Vani Prakash, the last outfield player available for Kat Smith. And she replaces Carly Johnson, who has scored the match-winning goal at the moment. Good news for Western United. Keeps coming. Because Western United have taken a 2-1 lead against Brisbane, which means they would jump back into 4th if the current results stay the same. Adriana Taranto with the set piece. The twin Melissa managed for this match. Expected back very, very soon. And this strike is not going to drop for Western. So ticking towards the 8th minute of stoppage time. There's a strike from Hieda. There will be at least 1 more minute after this because, well, there has to be, because the first minute of stoppage time was taken up with a stoppage. Can Western use that extra minute to their advantage? Vani Prakash has got Di Demizio in the middle, who scored in the 88th minute last time these two sides played in December to win it 2-1 for Western. Not long now until the green and black can start to celebrate. They've closed this match out expertly well. They have just sucked the life out of the attack of Sydney FC. Great bounce back for them after conceding 5 on Wednesday. Is there a third in the offing here? Prakash blocked off by Tumeth. And maybe Sydney. Do they have one final foray forward here? Nat Tobin gives Abeni some room to work with. Luchtmeyer takes it wide. Gets the cross low. Western deal with it. There's a throw for Sydney. Mitchinson looks at the watch. Luchtmeyer may create one final chance up towards the back post. Hawkesby is herring after it, but so too is Sasha Grove. What about her engine? And the green and black are back in the top 6 in the Ninja A-League. Consecutive wins for Kat Smith's team against Sydney FC for the first time in this competition. And they did it with some of their experienced stars on the bench in the second half, including Grace Maher and Chloe Lagazzo. A real test of squad depth for Western United. An impressive result on the road against a Sydney FC side who were utterly desperate, who now stare down the barrel of missing the finals for the first time in Ninja A-League history. It will take a miracle now for Sydney in the final 8 matches to pull this out of the fire. Full time at Leichhardt, Sydney FC 1, Western United 2. Time to look back at the best bits of this one, and we got the first goal so early in the game. Chloe Lagazzo squeezing it through. Beth Mason-Jones playing her first A-League women's match in almost 6 years. So not the start that she was after on return, but she came into her own though in the second half. There was another disappointing moment for a goalkeeper. This time it was Chloe Link, and it just slipped through. And Mackenzie Hawkesby with her second goal of the season. Sydney had chances though before half-time.